There's a brand new ad the Trump campaign is putting into its mix today, including in some of these blue states I want to talk about. Can Donald Trump crack the wall? You heard him there say crooked Hillary. Watch closely at this new ad. This is the first time it's been aired here on Inside Politics, and it has a star player that the Trump campaign believes adds a little oomph here.
Hillary Clinton is under FBI investigation again after her emails were found on pervert Anthony Weiner's laptop. Think about that. America's most sensitive secrets, unlawfully sent, received, and exposed by Hillary Clinton, her staff, and Anthony Weiner. Hillary cannot lead a nation while crippled by a criminal investigation.
Scorched earth in the final days. She has some tough new ads up too. We'll get to her in a minute. But in terms of Donald Trump's ads, bringing Anthony Weiner, pervert Anthony Weiner, as it says in that ad, into it, trying to make the case that if you elect her president, you'll have an ongoing investigation, you'll have all this Clinton drama, it will never end. Why would you do that?
Well, it's not a terrible argument, and you can always count on Donald Trump to just say pervert Anthony Weiner, just straight up in an ad. I think it's important to note that there is a historically low TV spending numbers this time around, so you won't see like quite the flood of this type of ad that you've seen in the past. But the argument is not terrible from him, and I think the Anthony Weiner part of the story actually reaches different kinds of voters because it takes it into a little bit more gossipy area, and he may be trying to tap into a bit of that, or he may just want to say pervert Anthony Weiner in an ad.
It's not terrible, but it's also not totally true. We don't know whether Hillary Clinton's emails were found on Anthony Weiner's laptops or just emails between him and his estranged wife, Huma Abedin. But, I mean, if the goal here is to dampen Democratic turnout, which I think is the goal of this ad, then it probably is successful. I think it's problematic for Hillary on two counts. First of all, because she has to win the election, and this could hurt her. Second of all, because then if she does win the election, she enters it with these historically high unfavorability ratings, historically high untrustworthiness ratings, and that makes it really hard to unify the country after what's been this very, very ugly, divisive, pervert-laden race. So it puts her in a tough spot, even if she wins.
It ends at an incredibly raw note, please.
Well, no, I was just going to mention, I mean, at Huma Abedin's face being in that ad. She hasn't been on the trail. She's been laying low. She was at a fundraiser, but she hasn't she hasn't been on the trail with Hillary, and her behind Hillary and all those pictures. It just reminds people. So you have to wonder, should Hillary actually be successful here? What is her role going to be? Because she has been vilified, fairly or unfairly, by the right at this point.
I think it's a giant question. Does she bring in the people who, if you're reading WikiLeaks, if you know the history of this, the Cheryl Mills, the Huma Abedin, the people who are at the State Department, some of them go back to the Bill Clinton White House. Does she bring them into this White House when transparency, honesty, did you learn a lesson is the big question? Those will be great questions. They haven't answered them because both of these candidates are avoiding questions in the final days of the campaign, doing some radio. On this question that we started with that on the blue wall, the Trump campaign says New Mexico's in play. They say Michigan's in play. They say Wisconsin's in play. Those states are certainly closer now than they were 10 days, 2 weeks ago. But they're, in most of them, I haven't seen any public polling in New Mexico in the last several days, but in the ones we just showed you in Pennsylvania, Wisconsin, and Michigan, they're essentially where the Romney-Obama race was. So it's tightened up, but it's gotten back to quote-unquote, what Democrats say, where it's supposed to be.
Right, exactly. And that says more, I think, about Clinton's inability to close here, thanks in part to James Comey, but also just the idea that this country really hasn't shifted its political preferences despite Trump. I would be stunned if he won New Mexico. I can understand why they think they have a chance in Michigan and Wisconsin, but gosh, we could play back the tape 4, 8, 12 years ago. And what are Republicans always telling us in the last week? We got a chance in New Jersey. We have a chance in Michigan. Wisconsin's
Pennsylvania.
On the line.
Romney's huge rallies in Pennsylvania.
To their credit, the head fake worked. She's now running ads in Colorado. She's back running ads in the Midwest. She wasn't doing it. They say it's because they have money to burn. Trust me, they could burn all